Welcome to this week's episode of Talk Culture, YouTube's most requested channel on the interwebs. The numbers are in, folks. We are the most requested.
Yep, that's for sure. Nobody else. Not a single other YouTube channel.
Today's episode, we are going to be talking about Bioshock Collection. So that means 1, a little bit of 2, and Infinite. Those are the main things we are going to be focusing on.
Yeah, we're not going to get too much into 2. 2, if you guys don't know, is more of a, what would you call it, a prequel? Yeah, it's pretty much a prequel.
Definitely.
So we're not going to spend too much time on that, but we're going to go over the things that we really like about the Bioshock franchise, things that we, loved about it, things we weren't too much a fan, which honestly is a very small list.
Yeah, it's extremely small. Not necessarily detailed in that regard because, when we first picked up these games, really just got into the whole aspect of it. I don't want to get too far into it. We'll say that for a little bit later.
Not yet. Let's pump the brakes here a little bit. Pump them.
That's how you pump them.
And also we're going to be focusing on Infinite, how much different Infinite was to, 1 and 2. And then what we hope to maybe see in the future games. There is talks about them possibly making a new one here coming up soon.
Let's hope so. But we do have some great news coming in.
We got great news.
Oh. Hold on. Oh. You think I do this before we get the great news? Wow. But it hits me in the ear. I just got to pull it up. The great news is May 29th, 2020. In this world that we're living in, we got some great news. It's finally hitting us.
Here it is.
Bioshock the Collection is coming to Nintendo Switch.
There it is.
That was
super duper.
That was so much excitement. I just see that hair go crazy.
Yeah. Good thing we got a cosmetics team to fix that, right?
But honestly, no, that is some awesome news. And hopefully this video would be a way to introduce you into the franchise a little bit. We don't want to spoil it because there's definitely twists with every game.
Yeah, and
at that point,
like this video was meant to happen because we knew we were going to make this video before they even announced the collection coming to Switch. So this was made to happen, folks, and you tuned in just in time.
Yeah, so let's get it started. How about you start us off with Bioshock 1, DK?
You know what? I think I'm going to start us off with Bioshock 1, just for a little bit. So Bioshock 1, first of all, anyone that's into sci-fi, horror, thrillers, this game is for you. Very dark, very prohibition feeling.
Yes, it's old school. It has that I want to say bopper, but that's not the word.
Bop.
Is it bopper?
It's a bop.
No, the game's a bop, but it's not bopper.
I don't know what a bopper.
Bopper-esque.
Bop. I don't think it's a bopper.
It's bopper.
But mainly, it's very focused in like the prohibition era. I do believe, right?
Is that the 20s?
I think it's the 20s.
Hey.
We're not historicals. We don't know history, but we do know video games, and that's why we're doing this channel and not a history channel. But so the first thing that happens, your plane goes down in the ocean, instantly taken to the underwater city of Rapture. That's when you're introduced to the game's main antagonist.
Can I point out something before we get to that point? The fact that your plane goes down and you're on, is it the Atlantic or Pacific?
I believe it's the Atlantic, but
Atlantic?
Like I said, we're not historicals.
I can't remember which one offhand, but really you just go to a lighthouse, and that's a reoccurring theme. There's always a lighthouse, right? Mm-hmm. You go into this lighthouse because that's your only place of refuge. You're like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm going to hop in this little vessel. I don't know where it goes, but...
Bathysphere. It's called a bathysphere. It's a submarine-esque thing.
Pulls it out. Yes. So you hop into this bathysphere, and you, like you said, you are introduced to Rapture, this underwater city. Like, who in the world would ever hop in this thing?
As you go through the game, not to give any spoilers, no spoilers.
No. No.
You'll figure out why that happens. Obviously, there's a reason why your plane crashed where it crashed.
Was it planned?
It might have been planned.
Could have been planned.
Was it an accident?
There's a plan all along, you see.
But so anyways, you're quickly introduced to Andrew Ryan, the creator of Rapture. You get a little bit of an idea of who he is, and then right out the gate, you're introduced to Atlas. Atlas is like your sidekick throughout this game. Kind of teaches you the in and outs of the game.
He's your guiding voice.
Yeah.
He literally takes you from point A to point B. He's that seamless flow that keeps the game going for you.
Yeah. And without getting too far into the story, because like we said, we want you guys to really check it out for yourselves. Instantly you're thrown into the crazy world of Rapture. Basically a town that was thriving and it collapsed. And things were changed to try to keep whatever was left of this underwater city going. And quickly you start realizing the horrors and the things that went wrong in this underwater city and what's going on now.
Yeah, so one of the things that you'll encounter are splicers. That's like your general enemy for the most part. Obviously, you have the Big Daddy, which is pictured over here with the little sister. Without getting it too deep into that, but the splicers, they are genetically enhanced or altered in that regard, and that's where Bioshock really pulls a lot of, I guess, the Bioshock, like that is Bioshock. Yeah,
sci-fi elements.
So just to throw a couple things out there, like plasmids, just rattle a couple off. You have like incinerate. You can shoot like ice to freeze people. You can electrocute them, telekinesis.
Hold on, let's not get too far. Hold on. You didn't even tell these people what plasmids are.
Well, tell them.
So, a plasmid in the Bioshock world is a genetically altered, like, I don't know, medicine? Would you call it?
It's an enhancement.
It's an enhancement. That you inject with yourself, and it kind of gives you like a superpower.
Literally,
like you just throw balls of fire, or you can. There's one that makes a swarm of bees come out of your hands.
Whoa!
And there's a bunch of other ones. Ice bolts.
Yeah, and what they did with the plasmids is they made it in a way that not one is perfect for every situation. They have things where you take over like sentry bots, or security bots, turrets, etc. to kind of give you the advantage when you're going against like kind of the big bads or the big daddy.
The big daddies.
Dun dun dun. But yeah, so the game really makes it fun, unique, and I don't think it's necessarily one of the, like, it's a shooter, but like you kind of have to think on your toes, like switching between different plasmids, different weapons to get the advantage over your opponent and enemy.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even some plasmids that don't even do anything to your enemy. It's mainly just to like interact with the environments, like you said.
Yeah.
The one that takes over machines is like sometimes it can be used against your enemies, but a lot of the time it's used to hack like doors and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have those, so you really got to be careful on which ones you have set to use. And then let's not forget, so the weapons in Bioshock are very, very basic.
And they're like, old school. I love the look of it, and it flows everything and pulls it all together.
You don't really have any weapons that are super crazy OP. I mean,
no,
shotguns are always fantastic, but it's a very basic, like they stick to the time frame kind of. Like you don't have crazy like ARs or, you know. No, you have your machine guns from back in the day.
Which was the Thompson.
Yeah, the Thompson. You got your shotgun. Was there a
pistol? No.
I can't remember.
I don't think there was a pistol. There was the grenade launcher.
The grenade launcher, yeah.
Basically, like, I mean, it was very general in what you had. And I think that makes it fun too, because I don't know, I like the plasmid aspect where literally I'm incinerating you, but I'm going to light you up with my machine gun. They had different bullets for different things. You had shock bullets, incinerate bullets. I'm trying to think what else they had.
Explosive bullets. I think they had explosive bullets for the
shotgun. I mean, they had different things for every situation, like I referenced before. So I think that was really awesome. Good point.
Yeah. Now, we really, like, Bioshock 1 in my heart is my favorite Bioshock, but I highly encourage you guys to check it out. Without sticking too much to Bioshock 1, let's move on.
Yeah, so just want to throw out there with Bioshock 2, like we said, it's going to be very little and minimalistic at this point. This point, only the Big Daddy, that is the big thing for me.
But it's not this one.
But it's the OG, the original gangsta Big Daddy. Minus all the bling and chains and zebra print.
Big Daddy.
But yeah, the great thing about Bioshock 2 is that you are in a Big Daddy suit the whole time, so you have a different arsenal. You're not just like a man anymore. And I think that was one of the cool things. You go against Little Sister, you get to find out the whole premise of the story, and I don't want to go down that whole path today. I kind of just want to move to Infinite. Just check out 2. It's not a bad game by us kind of skimming over it slightly. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
I loved it. It had multiplayer, but...
Yeah, the multiplayer kind of fell flat. I mean, I feel like Bioshock...
It was cool at first.
I remember when Bioshock 2 brought multiplayer and everyone was like really excited about it. And honestly, I feel like Bioshock's a perfect one-player game. Like, I want to get lost in this universe. especially with the decisions. That's another thing we actually forgot to talk about on Bioshock 1 was you have different outcomes for the ending of this based on how you treat the little sisters here.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, forgot about that.
That was something a lot of games didn't have at that time. Depending on how you treated the little sisters, you could either harvest them or you could save them, and that, you know, played out the outcome of your game in the first one without giving you too many spoilers. So if you do play Bioshock 1, that's something to keep in mind. Just be careful.
I would say pick one or the other. Either harvest them or save them.
Yeah, don't go in the middle.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's achievements. I used to hunt achievements. Definitely keep that in mind. But let's transition to Infinite.
Yep.
So Infinite is completely different contrast from Rapture. So in Colombia, you're up in the sky. You have this city in the sky. Not heaven per se, but they take a lot of the colonial type of vibes, like that historical thing.
With like an old English vibe too.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like it is based on the founding fathers. And I don't know how in the world they think of these things.
Nah, it's completely different than, I mean, everything about Bioshock 1 to Infinite is like two completely different settings, different time periods, it feels like almost everything up there. They feel like two complete different games, but once you start getting into it, you're like, oh my god, this is another Bioshock game.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
No, I think with Infinite, what they did a little bit better than Bioshock 1 and 2 is that you have, I'd say, a little bit more mobility. It's a little bit more fast-paced, at least to my liking, with the Skyhook.
Yeah.
So, like, you can travel to different platforms and stuff like that. It's not a platformer in that regard, but just it gets you to move around. You can shoot different enemies and different things like that on the go, where Bioshock is just so general that you're just walking. It turns into a shooter more so than Infinite. But I mean, it's extremely cranked to like 11 with the colors. It's not as dark and things of that nature. It's so cool in that world.
Which was saying that that also kind of brings me to the next point. The difference between Bioshock and Infinite is the big difference in the tone of the game. I mean, Bioshock 1 over here, you had a very horror thriller based, like, dark game, whereas over here with Infinite, you had a very bright steampunk game. Like,
oh, for sure,
you still had dark undertones, but nowhere as dark as Rapture.
Well, even with Infinite, like, I didn't think about this when I initially played through, but I guess they did get some backlash I've seen for racism. You can check it out. I'm not gonna get deep into that touchy subject, but yeah, going back to the steampunk thing, I don't know why I even went on that tangent, but like the Songbird, so complete contrast from the Big Daddy, and I love the look of it. Gives it wings, so once again, the mobility factor. Big Daddy would charge at you. He would, just walk towards you. This one can fly. He's coming at you from any way possible. You also had the Patriots, so going back to like the colonial, the historical founding fathers piece, like the Patriots is literally George Washington with like Gatling guns, machine guns, and he has two flags poking out.
Yeah,
it's one of the coolest things ever. And like,
try to put a picture in there for you guys so you can see what it looks like.
Yeah,
it's pretty badass. Not gonna lie. Oh, we're doing the finger game again. We'll try putting it up there. We'll see how it goes.
Here. I mean, that's normally where I can get it.
It might fit there. If not, we'll try putting it right here.
Anywho, but just a little bit of the story. So Booker DeWitt, which is a showman right here, that's who you are basically through the whole game. You meet a girl named Elizabeth. Sooner or later, then you are basically going together. You are working side by side. You build that bond. You find out she has some powers. Not Austin. Powers.
But she does have some
powers.
I missed it. Sorry.
Jeez. But I think it was kind of cool because the first one you were just by yourself. This one you have somebody else kind of go along with you at that point. Don't want to get into the ending at all. Spoilers once again. Don't want to do that for you. But definitely check it out. Like I said before, complete contrast. Day and night.
Underwater,
obviously.
in the clouds, both ways.
In the clouds, underwater.
Yeah, I guess that was a little different than what I said.
It was. It's backwards. That's how it works.
Okay.
Contrast. Boom. But unfortunately, there are no new games slated. I think it's by 2K. 2K, yes.
Yeah.
They haven't said anything, unfortunately. We've been waiting.
There's been a lot of very strong rumors, and a lot of the weight behind the rumors seems to be people that have been reliable with rumors in other video games. So I'm sure they are working on something. There's just been no details whatsoever. I'm willing to bet it's going to be a new gen game. Definitely.
It makes sense.
Heard anything yet about it. But I'm definitely hoping for a strong story. I mean, with 1, 2, and Infinite, if you play the DLCs, and I urge you, if you're going to get the collection, the DLCs are included. A lot of people jump over DLCs. You need to play these. The DLC will tie the whole Bioshock universe together, and it makes it almost feels like it shouldn't be DLC. It should be part of the game, honestly. There's, I believe, 3. There's Minerva's Den, and then Burial at Sea Part 1 and 2. I think that's all of them. The Burial at Sea ones mainly are the most important, and it really just gives that nice finishing touch to a great game series. So please, if you're going to buy this collection, please play the DLCs to get that finishing touch on what is a fantastic series.
I think I want to add my finishing touch. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I think I do.
I want to give you guys some theories. Both of us, we have thought about 2 different directions. I literally asked DK one day, hey, what type of theory do you have? And he said, like, kind of the style of it or where it'd be. And mine's completely different. I said, you know what, it's going to work. I just didn't want us to be in the same boat. Okay, so literally, I've not told him my theory. He has not told me his. I'll go first. So, my theory, while it is original, I did notice when I was going back into Bioshock and doing a little bit more research on the game, just so I can be a little bit more well-informed and brought back to speed, that they were initially going to do this in space. But I had this idea prior to seeing this, so I'm still running. So we're going to space. It is basically the height of the space race, okay?
Oh.
So I like... All right, so at the height of the space race, essentially... And you can have it be the USA or Russia or whatever.
Was it 50s, 60s? Was in that area, right?
Sure, I can't remember.
Once again, not historical.
Let me know when the space race was. It was during Kennedy.
Yeah, I feel like it was 60s.
I don't care. Anywho, so during the space race, they're putting people on the moon. So it's definitely reimagined, but we're putting people on the moon. It doesn't matter what country, if it's United States or Russia. Doesn't matter in this scenario. They're putting people up there, and kind of like in Bioshock 1, they are genetically enhancing people. They're doing tests and just seeing how people are adapting to life on the moon. And we're not going to get into the scientific piece of like, can you live on the moon? Is there oxygen? Blah, blah, blah. Throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Where the windows are. But they start mutating people, and essentially, like, it's the perfect place for them to do it. Obviously, because you don't want to do it on Earth, where you have millions and millions of people. You only have a select few up there. So, essentially, they send the astronauts, okay, to land on it. Maybe it might make sense more, like, say Russia gets there first, or USA gets there first, and then they send their crew up there, the astronauts, and they're seeing all these people that are mutated. So, kind of going more towards the Bioshock 1 side of splicers, things like that. I didn't go that far in depth with like naming different characters and stuff, like not formulating a full story, but I think that's where it should go. I want to see space. I want to see it in the middle of the space race, because obviously culture, life, things were so different from both of these time periods that they focused on prior.
Okay, I can get behind that. I like it. But hold on, because let me hit you with this. Hitting you with it.
It was late.
So my theory actually is based directly after Bioshock 1.
Okay, so it's linear right out.
Yeah,
okay.
And once again, I'm going to come back to this video maybe after you play Bioshock 1, you understand where I'm going at with this theory.
So maybe a spoiler warning?
Very close to a spoiler warning, but I'm going to try to do my best without spoiling anything.
Well, that was your hint to stop watching then.
No? Not necessarily.
Okay.
It'll make more sense if you beat the game, but
okay. Just want to prepare everybody.
So, directly after the ending of Bioshock 1, and there is something going on the planet Earth where people are being forced underground.
Okay.
So right off the bat, my Bioshock is underground, but I'm not talking like. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "That's Fallout, DK. Like, what's going on? It's Fallout." No, it's not. Hold on. So I want a more mechanical underground.
Okay.
Like, not so much like vaults and stuff, but like maybe more of the steampunk feel, or like, you know, I want big like engines and like more closer to the core of Earth. I know that probably sounds impossible.
Okay.
But you know, a little different scenery than just tunnels.
Okay. Yeah, I follow.
And this threat that's going on that pushed everyone underground is kind of trying to make its way slowly into the environment. Kind of causing new enemies, maybe enemies that are the victim of your surroundings underneath. So like, not necessarily a zombie kind of thing, but basically the other inhabitants of your area quickly can also be the enemies of your area.
So are they being like mutated by
kind of mutated.
Just the surroundings, just being underground? Like if you're out of the sunlight for so long, like your body is affected. Okay.
So like this to take place over a couple years after the first Bioshock game.
Okay.
So like you're seeing what's happening from the effects of, you know, no sunlight, very little water. You know, like they have to substitute things that you would normally have.
Okay.
Up on Earth.
Do like that.
Now, obviously, like I said, one of the big issues with this is how far away can you pull away from Fallout? You know, it's gonna off the gate. It's gonna sound like Fallout, but I think it would be interesting. I definitely think that the team at 2K could definitely kind of switch it up to make it pull away from the look of Fallout.
Well, I think with yours, like it can be completely separate entity, like not envisioning Fallout so much because. And that's post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. Like, you didn't say necessarily post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's not post-apocalyptic by any means.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no nuclear bombs. That's not necessarily the threat there. Like, people are just going underground. So, like, you have a completely different scenery and change. Like, yeah, you'll go into a vault that's in, like, a hillside or underground. But it's definitely different. Like, if it was Fallout, I'll tell you.
I will say I like your idea more.
Really?
I like the space rate. Like, I like that vintage, like... You know, classic look. I'm kind of over the future thing, you know? Like, so many video games come out with futuristic ideas because it's easier to make up stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, going back in time, you got to use what's available. I just like it.
Okay, well, hey, I appreciate that. I like yours as well. I like the whole Fallout thing, but I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So, let's wrap this up in Bioshock fashion. Let's do a quote from our good old buddy, Atlas.
Yeah, buddy. So, would you kindly like, share, and subscribe? Make sure to hit the button down below to be alerted every time we upload a new video. And definitely check out our other videos on our channel. And once again, thanks for supporting Talk Culture.